Welcome back to our Expert Insight here in Hall 11 at industry stage D72. I'm very happy that you are all here at the stage and outside at our live stream. Yeah, we want to continue our program today, supply chain, cybersecurity and intellectual property. I'm very happy to have some experts here. They bring us applications, they bring us solutions how you can achieve intellectual property, security, and have a good supply chain from the design to the machine. Our today's expert coming from the automotive industry, and I'm very happy that we have them here. And I'm very happy that Alex Ivkovic is with me on stage. Hi, Alex. Good to have you here. Alex is category Buyer and Logistic Manager of Daimler Truck AG, and Daimler is using additive manufacturing intensively, as I could experience by myself. Maybe the one or the other saw it here on screen. And your presentation today will show about supply chain, including cybersecurity and intellectual property. So the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alex Ivkovic from Daimler Buses, and I'm thrilled to be here today to share you some insights about additive manufacturing of our Center of Competence, 3D printing. In the next 20 minutes, we will explore some insights about additive manufacturing at Daimler Buses, then switch to the setup of digital twin and digital warehouse, and last but not least, the digital rights management. In the end of the presentation, you will have a clear understanding of the transformation to a digital supply chain and how we developed and adopted additive manufacturing in our company. Managing the transformation to a digital world requires an innovative and agile team, which you can see on this slide. We started cross-functionally with multiple Scrum teams and experts from various departments and functions. This led to the formation of a team with 7 core functions in it and is referred to as the Center of Competence 3D Printing. As you can see on this slide, we have achieved a lot of milestones in our journey so far. The most important milestone was the implementation of a business model, the digital warehouse. In addition to successfully establishing the Center of Competence and AMS, our additive manufacturing consulting unit, we launched our 3D printing license eShop. These important milestones were the basis for our digital supply chain and also the digital rights management, which we will discuss later in the presentation. Before we go into detail about the digital supply chain and digital rights management, what are the use cases for additive manufacturing at Daimler Truck and Daimler Buses? For us, 3D printing is more than just prototyping. We are convinced of industrialized 3D printing ranging from small parts to complex materials and surfaces to special projects with where you need all of the aspects of the 3D printing world. If you take a look on the slide, you can see some of the parts we have made, ranging from small covers to large cockpits that we've made for our series production when they suffered from heavy supply chain difficulties. So, how did we manage to switch to a digital business model? What do we mean by that? The normal way for our truck and bus components has been that we have a lot of conventional suppliers who receive a 3D model from our development department and can then produce these parts. For these parts, they have to make a tool that costs a lot of money. So afterwards, these parts were transported to our global central warehouse where the parts were stored. And if a service provider or service partner, let me say, or a customer needs the part, it will be transported to them. With the help of 3D printing, we can use the 3D model and produce the exact same part as the conventional supplier as well. Unlike the conventional manufacturing of the part, we don't need to build or produce the tool for making the part. We can easily use the 3D model and a 3D printer to produce the part without any tool and their tooling costs. So if we can say that a 3D printer is possible to produce, or with a 3D printer we can produce our parts without any tools and additional costs and only with the 3D model, then we can say that a 3D printer is a general tool for all of our parts and can produce every other part in one step. So the part switches to the 3D printer and we can produce every other part. That's how we learned that with additive manufacturing, every part can be produced at one time in one step. And with just one supplier, we can produce a wide range of truck and bus components with only one supplier, so from a single source. The remaining steps, or the following steps, remain the same. The parts were transported to global central warehouse where the parts were stored, and if a service partner or customer needs the part, will be transported to them. This made us think about the way we do our business. So why don't we switch from a physical transportation or physical business model to a digital business model? A digital business model could help us to reduce all of the physical production steps and the physical supply chain steps as well, including the transportation of the part, for example. But at the core of a digital business model is data, which is the key element and sometimes also a bottleneck. Why? Data for additive manufacture parts needs to be prepared. In the most cases, we need an optimized 3D model. We need the added part number. We need matched surfaces and much more. So that's the point. We have recognized the importance of data and also that mismanagement of data could lead to another difficulty when using additive manufacturing in the industry. The so-called digital twin with an optimized 3D model in terms of surface and added part number of our truck and bus components has been the basis for our digital warehouse, which was the response to the huge amount of data for additive manufacture parts at Daimler Trucks and buses. Instead of storing these parts in the global central warehouse in Germany, we can store these parts in our digital warehouse and prepare these parts simply for being printed on demand later on. To have a better idea what we mean by the digital warehouse, I will show you a short clip introducing it. So now you've had a glimpse of our digital warehouse for additive manufactured parts. But what about our own parts? We, Daimler Trucks and Buses, analyze and expand our service portfolio as well as our spare parts portfolio every day. As you may know, a truck or a bus contains a large number of components. So that we're talking about more than 320,000 different part numbers, of which 40,000 are suitable for 3D printing. Currently, 9,000 parts are prepared and technically suitable for 3D printing, and over 33,000 are in the backlog. Over the time, we have implemented more than 2,000 different part numbers in our digital warehouse. This also means that there's a high potential to increase the number even more in the digital warehouse, so that the parts can be printed on demand even more. As you already know, at the moment our digital warehouse contains around about 2,000 different part numbers which are ready for 3D printing. These 2,000 parts generate a high savings potential, as these parts are not stored physically in the central warehouse in Germany, so that we save a lot of tool costs and also the cost for the maintenance of the tools. Furthermore, we can say that we can produce with our own printer the parts in our global central warehouse. So we can produce the parts in our own company, in-house in Germany, and therefore reduce the supply chain and deliver to the customer faster. Since the parts are ready for being printed and are not only printable in Germany in our global central warehouse, we can produce these parts decentrally. So the big idea was that each sales region would have its own 3D printer in the immediate vicinity. So each truck or bus service center in the world could produce the parts itself and would not have to transport it from the global center warehouse to its own sales region. The implementation of decentralized production, so the slides I presented you before, is part of our digital supply chain, which we realize through the sale of 3D printing licenses. So the big idea of selling printing licenses, of producing on demand, become reality. We sell a printing license to a service partner, and the partner can print the part right directly on site and on demand. So this results in a reduction of CO2 and also of long-distance transportation. There are also positive effects on the cost side, as we generate a savings in tolls, physical storage, and the transportation of the parts. But the most important question is, we are talking about the sale of printing licenses. How does it work? And is the sale of a printing license safe? On the next slide, you can see the process behind our sale of printing licenses, the digital rights management. So the part from the digital warehouse, our virtual warehouse where we save our parts, with all the relevant data, is encrypted and optimized, available in our 3D printing license eShop, where our service partner can buy a printing license and print these parts in the right quantity that is paid for. So, since it's often not enough to just put a 3D model into the printer and get a part, we provide a digital parts report for each printing license of a part, which contains all the relevant information of the part itself, and as well specific parameters for the print job. The digital twin as 3D model in combination with the digital parts report are therefore the basis for our digital warehouse and 3D printing license shop. So we learned about our digital warehouse, about the sale of 3D printing licenses. What about the topic of quality? So the print license processing does not lower the automotive quality standards, quite the opposite. All of the parts that are available in the digital warehouse have undergone an approved certified process. The decentralized production and license management are fully integrated into our ERP system with an own number sequence, so full traceability is given. In regards to produce in-house, the corresponding service provider must have the printers certified in advance by Daimler Buses. Our customers have as well the same warranty claims as for conventional manufactured parts. And in addition, Daimler Buses is full liable for any damage caused by incorrect instructions regarding the 3D printing model or the data model. So, what are the advantages for us of the digital rights management? The parts are available to the customer more quickly in terms of transportation times or distances, have original part quality and lower prices. There are also some, let me say, advantages for us as we can generate savings potentials, or if we suffer from heavy supply chain difficulties, so that we can switch the procurement source. We can take the 3D printing license and print it at our partner's place. So if we combine digital rights management and the advantages or the general advantages of additive manufacturing, then we can contribute to a circular economy and generate CO2 savings, which is a very important aspect, and as well in the automotive sector, a sensitive topic. Let us dive into the topic of CO2 and circular economy for a moment. What are the three main aspects for the carbon footprint of 3D printing? It is about materials that you're using in the manufacture of the part. It's the manufacturing of the part itself and the transportation of the part. For example, we have a supplier. The supplier brings it to our global center warehouse and then to the customer. The benefits of manufacturing with a 3D printer can come into play as soon as we construct a new part and adapt an appropriate design for the additive process. So the adapted design of a new truck or bus component helps to further showcase the benefits of additive manufacturing with a 3D printer. So only the material that is actually used to produce the part or object is used. So we can significantly reduce waste and increase efficiency. This effect is further enhanced if we think about the implementation of recycled plastics or other sustainable materials. So we can contribute to the circular economy. The manufacturing process can also be decentralized, as we have learned from our digital warehouse, from our total digital supply chain, and as well the digital rights management. So this reduces energy consumption and CO2 normally associated with the transportation of the parts. Now we came to the end of the presentation, and I want to thank you all for being here today, and I appreciate your time and your attention. If you have further questions, please do not hesitate to come at our booth for a more in-depth discussion or to view our products up close. If you don't have any further questions but want to inform yourself about the digital warehouse or adapted the digital warehouse in your company with many more features, then follow please the link or scan the QR code. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Alex. Thank you for your insights. Yeah, I already checked the Slido tool I mentioned earlier. Maybe the one or the other is coming late or didn't get what I said. You all have the possibilities to ask your questions using our Slido tool. There is a QR code over there. When you look at the roll-up or at the live stream, you find it where the live stream is transported to you there next to the show. There you can ask your questions. But right now there are no questions here. But I have a question. Can you give us a number how many 3D printers you are using with Daimler Trucks worldwide?
There's no exact number, so we are using it in the series, also in the spare parts sector, and there are parts that are running since 2016 in series production. In the digital warehouse, we have around about 2,000 different parts with an optimized 3D model, and they are also available for all of our departments. So it is a good number to start with.
I want to get a feeling if it's just if you're talking about an idea, or is it really in the field what you're talking about? The subsidiaries, how many does Daimler Trucks have worldwide? There are, I think, a few.
A few, yeah.
Yeah, and is everybody really equipped with a 3D printer?
Not at all, but we are starting the process. This process is still started, or it's
on the
done.
way.
Yeah, on the way. We have some pilot projects and started it with our near colleagues in Europe, so it will be growing in the future time.
And when talking about the machine providers, do you have certain vendors which you are working together with, or are you open for different machine vendors?
Yeah, in the beginning we started with some partnerships, but we are trying to expand it on other partners so that the service providers or service partners in the subsidiaries can use every other printer as well.
Okay, so there is the one or the other chance for somebody who wants to show his news printer to use. Maybe there will be one or the other talk.
Sure.
Let's come to the service providers. I myself learned that you are working together with some service providers. I visited 3D Werk in Black Forest,
Yeah.
and it was a very experienced day for me. I learned how to remove support structures and how to remove powder was not easy, so to say. But come back to our topic today. To secure, you have the digital rights management, but how do you secure that there are not printed some more parts than you agreed on?
So we can sell a printing license, and the partner has the opportunity to buy the exact number from the store, and there's a license behind it with tricky technology, so he can only print in his program one part.
So from the technology point of view, he could print more. It's just a legal question that he is not allowed to, or is it a technology aspect?
It's a technological aspect.
Okay.
So he cannot print more parts.
Okay, how does it work? You have 3 minutes left.
Please come to our experts, and then they will maybe explain it to you.
I want to understand how it works. We have to talk afterwards.
Sure, why not?
Explain it to me. There are some methods using blockchain technology. Once I learned that. I'm very curious how you install that process. Yeah, looking at my questions. I want to talk. We have some minutes left. I want to talk about cost. Maybe you pointed it out, but please repeat again. Why did you so much stick to the additive manufacturing? Everybody says to print a part additively is very cost intensively. Where is the point that you say it's for us? It's a good game to use the additive manufacturing under the aspect of cost.
Yeah, it's always a difficult topic in the automotive sector. Everyone is regarding the price, but you must look at the whole thing of the additive industry. So we at Daimler Buses, Daimler Truck are using additive manufacturing when we suffer from supply chain difficulties, when we have parts. So when we have parts that are not running, maybe in the series, maybe more in the spare parts sector, and when there are no tools more, or the supplier.
Sometimes the tools are broken.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or need to be maintained, or the supplier is suffering from an insolvency. So that we need to switch our method of procurement and then produce our parts in the 3D printer.
So it's not a question of the cost of the single part. It's just a question of the cost of the whole process and covering. Having a lorry driving 300 kilometers to deliver one part, for example.
That's important.
Okay,
to
understood.
think about the whole thing.
Okay, thank you very much. I could ask you several hundreds questions, and one is still open, so we will cover that one later. Thank you very much for being with us, and have successful fair and a lot of discussions and new contacts here. Thank you very much, Alex. One applause for him, please. Perfect. Thank you very much. We will be back here in some minutes after our highlights, and then we will have a very interesting panel covering our topic: cybersecurity, intellectual property, and so on. Thank you very much, and we see you.